Hello and welcome to Mabinda TV. This is the Daily Show KE, where I basically look at the top issues in Kenya, Africa, and around the world. So basically, what are we going to be looking at today? Today, I'm going to be looking at the Big Six. How did they manage to break into the Kenyan that is a film industry? That is Eddie Butita, Njuguch, Celestine Dinda, Judy Nyawira, Abel Mutua, and director Phil. That is and director Phil. So how did the Big Six manage to break into the film industry? Of course, Abel Mutua, I think, is the leading one, and Eddie Butita, and Abel Mutua, basically known as Mkurugenzi, and his wife Bim Mkurugenzi. Of course, Abel Mutua came all the way as Freddy in Tidy High. Abel Mutua was Freddy in Tidy High, and then, of course, you had Eddie Butita writing jokes for comedians during Churchill Show. He wasn't successful in his own way in cracking the jokes himself. So what did he used to do? That is, Eddie Butita used to write jokes for other comedians. So basically, they would laugh at him that he wasn't funny, but it is the comedians that he wrote jokes for that were really funny. So basically, he is the script writer, and basically his movie he was contracted to translate an English movie into Kiswahili with Kiswahili subtitles. So that's Eddie Butita for you, basically raised in Kangware and basically raised in Kariobangi, and basically rising through the ranks until now he is the owner of SPM Buzz. If you don't know SPM Buzz, it is an online news company, media company, which of course it doesn't go the salacious way of a Nairobi Gossip Club or the others. So that's Eddie Butita for you. And then Njugush was Njugush really was I think, was the apprentice of Abel Mutua. So the story goes that when Njugush was going to look for a job for was just after graduating from the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, KMC, where Njugush was apparently, I think, a year or two behind Abel Mutua. So basically, Abel Mutua called him for a news show, but he thought it was a real news. But it was not a real news, it was a parody news show. So basically, Njugush then went with the suit, but then found out that it wasn't really a serious show as that. So that's Njugush. So he credits Abel Mutua for opening doors for him. That is, Njugush credits Abel Mutua for opening doors for him. And then, of course, that's where he met his wife, Celestine Dinda, who now is his manager. So basically, he used to finance him during those days. So you can't see how that marriage really has lasted between that is Njugush and that is Timothy Kimani Njugush and Celestine Dinda. And of course, Judy Nyawira met Abel Mutua at KIMC, that is Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. So you can't see how then, of course, director Phil was also in Tidy High. So Tidy High, we can safely say it is Tidy High that made Citizen TV. It is Tidy High that made Citizen TV. So you can see how the Big Six really broke into the Kenyan market, and Abel Mutua, of course, at that. So the director Phil, basically, I think, is the CEO, the brains behind the team. He is the CEO, very methodical, that is director Phil. And of course, a lot of people were really broken apart when he divorced that is Kate actress. But of course, I think it's a Kate actress that they divorced from director Phil. But of course, you have a lot of women really saying that they don't like nice guys. So maybe he was a nice guy to Kate actress. So are they the Hollywood of Kenya? These Big Six, are they the Hollywood of Kenya? But I think maybe they have done very many shows, and of course they tried with the auditorium. They filled up 6,000. Then they tried TNT, that is through thick and thin. That was for Njugush, that is through thick and thin, where he says that basically he wanted to try out on how COVID did them in. Basically, COVID did them in. So basically, they were going to find a way. How were they going to find a way that people could watch a movie online without without people could watch a skit online without sharing the content. And so what happened? Basically, TTNT, what they did, they found someone that made sure that created a link that you could not share. So if you share that link, it does not open. It does not open. So basically, that's how they managed to create a link. I think for only 250 shillings, and for only 200 shillings, and some people really thought they were undercharging, and that's why then some people really even overpaid. So you can see the creativity in that. Basically, creating a link in which people could click on the link, and then it does not if you share that link, it does not open. So that was the breakthrough of TTNT, and basically the whole online crusade of pioneering a movie. I think the other day Abel Mutua pioneered a movie with 6,000 people. Basically, it was the best in Africa, and I think the third in the world. So basically, it says there is a movie in Spain that sold for I think had an I think opening of about 19,000 people, but then Abel Mtua tried very much to have just 6,000 people. So you can see, even as the government is not helping them, they are really the two ones, and that's how Nollywood was created. Nollywood was not created by the Nigerian government. Nollywood was created by Nigerian directors, Nigerian actors. They're the ones who came up together. In fact, during that time, Nigeria was going through a military rule, and so most people stayed indoors. Most people really stayed indoors and did not, and that is, did not, were not going outside during the military rule, and that's how they managed to be entertained by Nollywood movies. And I think Nollywood is the highest grossing movie in the world. It is not the highest grossing, but the movie that has produced the most films in the world. It produces the most films in the world, even more than Bollywood. And so basically, it is accounting for Nigerian economy in many ways than one. So basically, I think that is the Kenyan direction. Now, our own Riverwood must be able to go that direction in order to be able to grace that occasion and basically create the necessary scene. So we have the likes of Abel Mtu and Jugush, Eddie Butita, Eddie Butita, Director Phil, Celestine Dinda, Judy Nyawira being able to create a kind of a reward for Kenya, and I will hope that they will really go far and position Kenya towards being a good film industry in the country, and that's how they will be able to. That's how they will be able to capture the Kenyan scene. Of course, it's a wait and see. Of course, some of them, such as Eddie Butita, took a lot of hit. Of course, Eddie Butita was not pro. Is I think in some kind of advisory role for President Ruto, but I don't know how much he advises President Ruto. But of course, then he was cancelled during the Mandamano protest because he was lukewarm. He was lukewarm, sometimes supporting the president, sometimes opposing the president. But of course, he was in some kind of advisory role for President Ruto. So that's how then he got a lot of slack. That is Eddie Putita for not speaking out against the finance bill. Of course, some say that celebrities were paid to oppose the finance bill. So what do you think about the big six and their plans for the movie industry in the country? And then we'll move over. Gachagua, that is the impeached deputy president. Gachagua attends Wamalo's DPK party launch. That is Gachagua attends Wamalo's DPK party launch. So is this a new sense of political movement that is being reborn? So of course I could see that Gachagua could be the running mate of Kalonzo Musyoka in 2022. That is Gachagua, that is DP Rigathi Gachagua could be the running mate of William Ruto, could be the running mate of Kalonzo Musyoka in 2027. So basically, William Ruto, if he's not careful, he could be a one-term president. So basically, I think basically the Mount Kenya vote is gone from William Ruto. The Mount Kenya vote is gone, and so he will be really looking towards. That's why he is walking all over the country trying to plug that gap. But it is a big, big gap. It is 47% of the votes that Ruto got came from Mount Kenya. You can imagine 47% of the votes that Ruto got came from Mount Kenya. So you can imagine that's nearly half of the votes. So will Western people don't normally go to vote. They don't go to vote. If it's looking to plug in through Western votes, that's why everyone thinks that they could pick up votes from Western. And I think you had even Uhuru Kenyatta in 2012, he wanted to go with Eugene Wamalo as his running mate, but he was told that is a bit ish-ish, and that he couldn't go with Eugene Wamalo. So then basically he had to stick it out with William Ruto, and he got assured the Kalenjin votes. They voted to a man for Uhuru Kenyatta, but then for Luya votes, it's a bit easy. First of all, there are many sub-tribes within the Luya community. They normally, some, like for instance, the Bukusu and the Maragoli don't see eye to eye, so they don't vote in the same direction, and that's why that it is very hard for the Luya vote to be able to be in one basket. So Gachagua maybe I think will likely go with Kalonzo Musyoka, and if he gets the backing of Ukambani, and if you get the backing of Ukambani, and I think also if you get the backing of Ukambani and Central Kenya, then I think you could have a formidable political team. So of course Raila Odinga, of course, even if he backs William Ruto, there will not be, it will not be as watertight as if he himself was running. So of course I think the candidate of Djibouti in the African Union Commission chairperson, AUC chairperson, the candidate of from Djibouti, I think has dropped out, has called in and has hung up his boots, and I think maybe Raila Odinga is going to get the African Union Commission chairperson candidacy, and of course that could bring in some fruits for Kenya. So I think I think Ruto could get some Luo votes, but not so much because he is not their man in the first place, so they will not come out to vote. So basically, Ruto could be in trouble in seeking a second term. But of course, then the machinations, they say it is not the voters that decide the election, but rather the electoral referee, and that's why you find that a lot of elections in Africa are disputed. Remember, Kenya has never had a one-term president. Remember, Kenya has never had a one-term president. So maybe President Ruto could be the first one to be a one-term president, but it will not be easy because he controls the instruments of the state. He controls the army, the police, the judges, the electoral referee. Basically, he controls the instruments of power. So basically, that's why it's very hard to beat an incumbent president. There has never been a one-term president in Kenya. So President Ruto could essentially be, that is, President Ruto could essentially hold on to power through unorthodox means, and so that's why the likes of Kalonzo, that's why some say Kalonzo is not martial enough. He is not strong enough to take on President William Ruto, and maybe that's why Jubilee has chosen, that is Fred Matiang'i, to be the running mate of Kalonzo Musyoka. That's why Jubilee has chosen Fred Matiang'i to be the running mate of to be the party's flag bearer in the 2027 election. So a lot of them are going to. It will be something that will be about. That is a compromise between that is Kalonzo Musyoka and Fred Matiang'i, but of course all of them will be working hand in hand to make sure that President Ruto becomes a one-term president. So it's going to be really something we are going to watch out for on who Gachagua is going to back. I think Kalonzo Musyoka, but Kalonzo Musyoka needs to grow stamina. He can't be soft. The gloves need to be off for Kalonzo Musyoka. He can't be soft. He is too soft for Kenyan politics. Kenyan politics does not need you to be soft. If you are too soft in Kenyan politics, then basically you don't go far in Kenyan politics. Yes, as a vice president, you could be soft, but as the person seeking the presidency, Kenya does not favor a gentleman in politics. Of course, you've had Salam Davadi is the other one, the other gentleman of Kenyan politics, but then gentlemanship in Kenyan politics does not take you far. This is about backstabbing. This is about underdealing. That's the stuff that Kenyan politics is made of: backstabbing, underdealing, theft, even death sometimes in pursuit of power. So that's why then the Kenyan political scene is not so good at all. That's why then for Kalonzo Musyoka, he needs to be upright. He needs to be able to make sure that he is really on the upfront, so that then he can take on the might of the presidency. Remember, the presidency is the incumbent president. He is the one who will sign the electoral referee. And then he is the one that will sign the electoral referee, and I think that is the way you will be able to know whether William Ruto is going to be a one-term president. And I think it is going to be something that we are going to look into on whether Kenya, but I would hope our politics will shift from one of tribe to one of issue-oriented politics, because this is just grandmanship. What if we had just two parties in the country, or maybe in Africa? What if in every African country we had just two parties, a left of center party? That's about equality of opportunity. Maybe a Labour Party on the left, that's about the rights of the worker, so that we promote the rights of the worker. What if these professional organizations came together, and basically what if these professional associations came together, like the KMPDU, that is KOTU, KMPDU, and of course NAT? What if they came together and were a real force in the becoming a Labour Party of the left? And that's about socialism. Of course, socialism is about the rights of the worker, not having high inequality between the haves and the have-nots. And then you have a right of center party, and that's about a party that is pro-business, and maybe the Kikuyu will favor that one. A party that is pro-business, a party that is about the rights of the worker. That's how we could have a right of center party. And I think if we have a right of center party and a left of center party, then basically the rights of the worker, maybe the rights of the business class, capitalism, individual dynamism, where you pull yourselves by your own bootstraps. I think that's how we would have created a country that is basically, that's how we would have created a country that is about opportunities, that is about a country that is about issue-oriented politics. This issue is about tribe. It is not getting us anywhere. We are not getting the best president, because we are simply choosing voters based on regional kingpins. If I control Ukambani, then if you want to Ukambani vote, you come through me. If I control Kikuyu Central region, then if you want the Kikuyu votes, you have to pass through me. No matter how much of a better candidate there are other people. If you control maybe the Luo votes, you have to pass through Raila Odinga. If you want the Kalenjin votes, you have to pass through William Ruto. So that kind of politics is not taking Kenya anywhere, is not taking Africa anywhere, and that's why I think that needs to change. That is something that we must really look into. That is something that we really need to look into. So that is something that I think needs to change. And then of course we are going to look at so we need politics of issues, politics of ideology, because really the difference between the ruling party and the opposition party in Africa is not in tribe, is not in ideology, but it is in tribe and region where they draw their support from. So that's the fundamental flaw in our politics, and that's why we continue to punch law. That's why we continue to punch a law. That's why Kenya is not a $1.6 trillion economy. Kenya should have been by now a $1.6 trillion economy. It should not be playing in the league of 200 $200 billion economy. Kenya should have been a $1.6 trillion economy, and that's how it is going to be able to be that country that is a shining city on the hill, be the same level of development as the likes of Singapore, the likes of Malaysia. That's how Kenya is going to be. And then, of course, from that, I'm going to move over to Africa. Now, DR Congo is in fighting again. Basically, M23 rebels, Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have taken over the eastern town of Goma. So what happened to this country, DR Congo? What happened to that country? If that country was stable, it would have been a superpower, not just in Africa, but in the world. But no one will give that country peace. It is the size of Western Europe, so you can't see how much of a country it is, how big of a country it is. So basically, DR Congo is not having DR Congo is not stable at all. So basically, the country is ungovernable. It is too large of a country to be governed. So basically, the M23 rebels backed by Rwandan troops by Rwanda have taken over the town of Goma. This is a perilous time for Africa. Why don't we have an African Union standing force of about 1 million people who can go and bring peace to that region? So you can see this region is not developing at all, and so that's why I will hope that it gets to develop so that then it can be so that it can be a powerful country. The mineral wealth potential of DR Congo is $30 trillion. That's the mineral wealth potential of DR Congo, $30 trillion. But that's only if it converts copper to electronics, titanium to aeroplane parts, if it converts the uranium to nuclear power, if it converts cotton to designer clothes, crude oil to finished petroleum products, if it converts gold and diamonds to jewelry, if it converts coffee beans to coffee drinking chains, if it converts that is coltan to mobile phones and computers. That's the only way. Imagine the information revolution is being powered by minerals of the Congo, but it does not have a single mobile phone factory. It does not have a single computer making factory. So you can be sure. Look at the clean energy revolution. DR Congo produces lithium ion, but it does not have a single lithium ion battery. So basically, this is something that I think we need to be looking at. Basically, DR Congo should have been a superpower, and this should be the likes of projects that the African Union should be pursuing. So that's it, and then I will move over to what do trans policies mean for Africa? What do trans policies mean for Africa? For Africa, the Trump policies are basically about Africa is a footnote in America's foreign policy. So I don't expect much from the Trump administration regarding Africa. They are going to look into their own interests. Basically, Africa is a footnote. We don't matter much, and so that's why Africa does not need to lean to the West with its 500, 600 years of Western subjugation of black people. Nor does Africa need to look to China with its depth of diplomacy. Africa needs to look inwards to itself so that then it can chart its own path forward. Africa needs unity as a matter of essence. These colonial boundaries were drawn up in Berlin in 1884. So basically, we can unite, and if Africa unites, we'll have one common market of 1 billion people. That's enough to do away with the outside world. They cannot be laughing at us while using our resources. Divide and rule is the name of the game. So that needs to stop, and Africa needs to really be at the forefront of that. And then still in American politics, who should be the next leader of the Democratic Party? Now that the party lost the presidential election, it should be about a leader that is pro-working class. Be a pro-working class leader. Basically just know that Africa, that is the Democrats are trying to pander to both the billionaire class and the ruling and the working class, but they can't do that. They need to pander really to the. They need to pander to they need to pander to the working class. They cannot cater to both the billionaire class and the working class. At least that's according to a statement by that is Bernie Sanders, who has conveniently been denied the Democratic ticket several times. And then Microsoft is in talks to buy TikTok. Of course, you had Donald Trump extend. The term for that is TikTok to be in America. So basically, they say that TikTok is spying on Americans. So about 170 million Americans use TikTok, and so they say that is information is related to the Chinese Communist Party. So basically, they say that information is related to the Chinese Communist Party, and that the party better organize on how it is going to, that Americans better be sure about that is their how safe is their data. So how safe is American data? That's what we should know. So how safe is American data? But I believe that Microsoft was a company about innovation, but is it still anchored on innovation? So it is one of the new club of trillion-dollar companies alongside with the likes of Facebook, Meta, Google, and Apple and Amazon, the exclusive club of trillion-dollar companies. So basically, that's it for now. Now you can get my two books. One of them is the 1% Continent, How Africa Can Rise Up, on how Africa can rise and be a formidable economy. And then, of course, there is also Give Us Your Best and Brightest, why are Africa's best place living. So that's it for now. Bye for now, till the next time. So remember to like and subscribe and tell a friend and share. Like, subscribe and share, and basically till the next time. Bye for now.